Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Matt. This is Steve, and we are here on behalf of Oak Avenue Recording. And this is our buddy Adam, and we're going to be talking to him about his newest single, "Don't Shut the Door." And we're going to learn all about him, his music, a little bit about his life,
And what it took to get here.
and what it took to get here. So, Steve, you can take over from here, buddy.
So let's learn a little bit about you, Adam. How'd you get your start in music?
Well, I learned to play guitar when I was 12. My grandpa was he wasn't like a really talented guitarist per se, but like he kind of knew what he was doing, and he taught me what little he knew, and I pretty much just went from there and looked at YouTube videos and different lessons and chord charts, and like I never learned how to read music, and I go completely by ear, and I just kind of went from there and figured it out on my own, and here we are.
So who would you say really influenced you as a child to want to pick the instrument up and really dig in and learn their music?
I mean, I had a lot of favorite artists. Like, I'm trying to think of a few. Like, I grew up on Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean and stuff like that. Just listen to them all the time, and I love their songwriting and stuff. And I just always thought there's no way I could ever write stuff like that or even sound as good. But I mean, we're kind of proving each other wrong. I mean, it's awesome to kind of hear what "Don't Shut the Doors" become so far. And but yeah, just pretty much listening to a lot of my favorite artists and kind of listening to my pap and stuff play, and he just sit on the back porch and hook up his amp and just mess around.
So was there any specific for me as a kid growing up, there was specific things like drummers in bands that would do it for me. I'm not a drummer, but yet drummers would kind of make me want to learn the guitar riff to play alongside of that, to be able to be part of that group. So listening to Brantley Gilbert and Jason Aldean, those guys, what really drew you into that sound? Was it the guitar riffs? Was it their drums, or was it just the whole atmosphere that they provided?
I think it was just the whole atmosphere. I would kind of pick apart the instruments, but at the same time, I would just listen to the whole thing, just the whole ambience and the whole atmosphere. I don't know, it just kind of drew me in.
Now, I have a question for you. When did you start playing guitar?
So, yeah, around age 12. I'm almost 25 now, so almost 13 years. But there was times on and off and stuff where I would quit playing, or I wasn't able to play for a good 2 or 3 years.
It's funny.
Around that
It seems
span.
it seems like a lot of people start playing around 12. That's
That's
kind of
when
the
I picked it
golden
up.
age.
I wish I would have started
playing.
playing earlier, because maybe I'd be a little better, but I think I'm making do.
I don't think I got better till 16 when I learned. After I learned Creed, that was it.
Yeah.
Once my Creed status got golden, I was like, okay.
Nickelback was my shit, dude. I listened
Really?
to Creed a lot, and freaking Crossfade and just all that sort of stuff. Even though it wasn't in my era, my mom and my dad would always introduce me to different types of music from their era, and way before I was born sort of stuff, and there's not much I really won't listen to or try to play.
You know what kicked it off for me? It was my mom had a dentist, and it was Scott Stapp's stepfather that was the dentist, and so she had gotten this autograph from all the Creed guys, and I remember I had the autograph, but it was ripped. It was a picture, kind of like the Alter Bridge one we got, and it was all ripped to shreds. Well, it was just torn and tattered, and I meant and that was the same year I'd got a guitar. And I meant to grab that and hold on to it. And I just completely, as a 12-year-old, you don't really think to hold on to that kind of stuff. And so when I got home that summer, because I would go to Florida, when I got home that summer, it was I found this new thing besides what I hear on the radio. when you get to the age to where you can research your own music and finally dig in, you start to explore new things. So between Creed and there was another band for me that really did it. I think it was Drowning Pool.
Drowning Pool, yeah. Bodies.
Exactly. I heard that on the way to church one day. And my grandma
Nice.
hated me for it because
I believe it.
I would turn it up on the radio, and I was 16 at the time driving to church, and I was turning nothing's wrong with me, and she's like, what do you
Like,
and I'm like, this is like golden. I don't know. Yeah, like I thought I was like the coolest guy pulling up at church.
dude, Grandma's like, he needs to get in that chapel now.
He needs Jesus.
He needs Jesus now. Well, it's funny we talk about this because so I started around 12 as well, and I'm a guitar player, and the bands that I started with were my parents' music. So it was Queen, Boston, Tom Petty, even like disco stuff, Bee Gees. Stuff
That's how
like
my
that.
mom was too.
Yeah.
Like
So
she was
for
born in
you-
'69, so like all that from her childhood and teenage years, like she really kind of ingrained in me.
Right. So for myself, and I'm curious about you, and you could touch upon it too. For me, it was my parents' music, and then I started liking the stuff my parents didn't like Nirvana or Metallica or Slipknot. So for you, what bands? You kind of mentioned a few, but what were one or two of the first bands that you listened to, and then where did your music evolve to where it is today? I'm kind of curious about that.
Cause like I wasn't I'm trying to think like, shoot. Like I was a big Nickelback fan, still am. I'm always gonna get hate for it. Like everybody just loves to hate Nickelback for whatever reason it is. I mean, but I would always listen to
That's
their
not going
stuff.
away. That's not ever going away.
Yeah.
It's just people say it out loud they hate Nickelback, but deep inside we all like Nickelback.
Dude, we played 5 different Nickelback songs today at practice.
We had our
And-
nickel break. Play some originals, mess around with them, and then play some Nickelback. We had our nickel break today.
Right.
So for me, my parents always had this CD rack that would sit by the laundry room. And as a kid, I would just go pull a CD. And my stepmom would always say, you better go put that back once you finish with it. Don't scratch that CD. And so I'd take one for a week and put it in the CD player. And when I got Matchbox 20, it was it. Like the 3AM album. I think it was called Real World.
Yeah, I
I
think you're
think
right.
so.
That was a game changer for me as a kid. I was like, holy snap! Like
That's
if
a
I
great record.
could, dude. If I could play that would be awesome. So that's kind of where it really started for me, and then it just snowballed from there.
Well, because Adam, I'm sure a lot of people don't know that you're into some heavier music too, which surprised me a bit.
Did I listen to Breaking Benjamin, I Prevail, Slaughter to Prevail a little bit? Like, there's really not much I won't listen to. Like, even classical music, like I won't listen to like the regular classical, but I listen to like metal covers and guitarists doing all that sort of stuff. And
You gotta get in. You gotta do some jazz. That's where it's at.
Funny enough, when I was in college, I was exposed to a lot of what I call collegiate jazz, and the kind of smart, kind of like, go play the 7th and add a 13, diminish to 9 or whatever, But there's a lot of organic jazz. Is kind of how I say it. I'm sure jazz aficionados are cringing right now, but there is a lot of cool jazz out there. A lot of it, but I guess when you're a rocker. You don't really.
Yeah,
you don't really
when
admit
you
it
got
very much.
distortion, you don't need jazz.
Yeah, you don't need jazz. Bro. But
So let's fast forward a little bit. So you got into music. You started playing guitar. I assume you started playing guitar before you started singing, right?
yeah, I was playing guitar for, I'm trying to think, maybe like 9-10 years.
Yeah. And you never sang before that? Like you would never...
Like, I've always been able to sing. It's just I had stage fright my whole life up until maybe 5-6 years ago where I decided just screw it, throw myself into the flames and hopefully get over it. Like, I don't know if I'm still completely over it. Like, I still get butterflies, but I'm sure that's normal.
Yeah, that doesn't go away.
But, like,
Yeah.
I've just kind of learned to handle that feeling a little better instead of freaking out completely. Like, man, what are people going to think? Like, what if I mess up?
So this is my question to you. So I am by no means a great singer. I'm not even close. If I sing something even remotely good, it took every fiber of my being to squeeze that turd out. You know, you just effortlessly just do it like you're breathing. Was there practicing involved, or did you always just sing like a bird? Like, I mean,
I'm trying to think back if I really practiced. It's just like, I don't really think I did. It's just I would always listen to music and sing along, and like I kind of just learned that way to kind of keep in time and keep in key. Like it always kind of came easy. Like, same with like guitar. It wasn't something I was always able to do, but like I enjoyed it so much to where I could just play and play and play. Like, there was times where it pissed my parents off because that's all I would ever do, and it was just repetition of the same stuff over and over again. And like, I mean, it's how you gotta practice, just complete repetition. Like,
that's why
it
I'm
might
not
get
a
annoying to
drummer.
other people, but it's just how you practice, just again and again and again and again. It's like practicing. What is it they say? Like, it's don't practice till you get it right. Practice till you never get it wrong.
Yeah,
wow, that I've never heard that one. That's great.
yeah.
Wow.
And I did that with Higher by Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I actually got that song down to perfection. Back when I was playing it every day, but yeah, I've been there at that point.
Well, it's funny too because I feel like there is a very precise intersection between practice and improvisation, to where you really hit this crossroads to where you want to have some wiggle room for the human aspect of music, just kind of letting it flow out of you, but there also is this underlying sense of just you know this shit because you play it all the time, and the improv is not due to fluke; it's on purpose. But
It's like when I started out playing, it was mostly about emulation. Like, I'd watch how the artists that I would listen to like do it, and just like watch and listen and check out live videos and their concert videos, acoustic videos. And like that's how I learned Simple Man from Leonard Skinner. Like, I stayed up all night one night just back in the back game room and stuff my mom had built off her trailer, and just sat there all night. Like, I was so tired and my fingers hurt so bad because I had a Fender DG7 that had a really high action, which is the distance between the string and the neck, and my fingers were it was so painful. Like, I was just staying up all night like, man, my fingers freaking hurt. But I gotta learn this freaking song. Like, I love this song, and it would impress all my friends, and I'd be able to play it with my dad's band, and like, it was awesome. And it was just a whole different feeling whenever I actually learned it, and my dad let me get up on stage with him and his band. It was that was another thing that really set me off on the road to kind of like, man, I want to do this for myself.
Well, that leads me into my next question is, what was your first guitar?
My first guitar was a Fender DG7. My pap had picked it up from a yard sale. It was covered in dust. He cleaned it up for me, pulled a dust ball about this big out of the sound hole, and waxed it up, and it was good as new. And I played that thing every day until my fingers would just about bleed. Like, and then I'm trying to think what my next guitar was.
Well, you said you had gotten an electric at some point, right?
Yeah, I'd gotten it was an Epiphone Les Paul Special 2. It was one of the beginning ones. A really beginner. I'd gone to like a.
It wasn't a Mozart one or a
the Mozart.
It was like the
one of those.
It was the orange sunburst with like just the orange in the middle and the black. Like, just it looked cheap. It was only like $120 at a little. It was like a game store and bookstore. It was like it was called Second and Charles. You could buy old PlayStation games.
We have one down here too.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had one down here or not.
So how many hours does it take to wear down the frets on a guitar?
Oh man, there's a whole rabbit hole.
Dude, that's why my guitar needs its frets leveled. Like,
Because that SG, that
I've played that
Epiphone
thing so
SG I
much.
have,
It's probably
the frets are
nickel.
smacked on it.
Yeah, it's nickel. I think is what it is. So you would probably have to get them refretted. And
It costs more than guitar.
Oh, yeah, it costs
so
way-
I'm
yeah,
just wondering,
no.
like,
No.
I'd probably that's probably where my 10,000 hours came from.
Yeah, yeah.
Was on that thing. Same
And-
for the rest of us, I assume.
Well, it's funny. My very first guitar was a first act acoustic guitar. I got it for my 9th birthday, and I just flang my hands on it and threw it in the garage and stayed there for 2 years. And I just remember just picking it up one day and just deciding I was going to play it. And I didn't know tuning was a thing. I thought it was just to make the strings tighter. So I figured out like 1 or 2 chords here and there just by just randomly placing my fingers when I figured out that was a thing. And I remember one day I used to do taekwondo, and they had this kid that shredded on guitar, man. And this was when I was like 12 or 11 or something. And I was like, man, that sounds so good. I can never get my guitar to sound right. He said, well, bring it in. Let me see. And I brought it in. He's like, yeah, it's not in tune. And he just tuned it. And then I remember I was disappointed because I'm like, wait, but now all my chords don't sound right anymore. And so it was a whole process. It's kind of funny, starting with music, learning about everything and learning on your own. And from that first act, I went into like a Squire Strat to an Epiphone, Les Paul.
Like I always started out with like an acoustic. Like I tried with an electric and to learn how to solo and do all that stuff, but it's just like I never got used to it. Acoustic was what I started out with, and it's kind of what I've kept with. Like,
So
part of me wishes I still had my Les Paul Special too, but like I sold that for $30 to a guy. Like,
did your dad teach you chords and kind of structure? Or?
my dad was never a guitarist. Like after I started learning and stuff and got really good and stuff, he kind of got a guitar and stuff and tried to mess around with it.
Oh, so it was
but
the opposite. You started
yeah,
teaching him.
he kind of like put it down after like I got way better than he ever could be. He's like, screw this, I'm putting it down.
Yeah.
Well, so
But
I actually, to kind of zoom out a bit. So, Adam, you're not from where Steve and I are. We're from the New Orleans area, southeastern Louisiana. You're from Pennsylvania, correct?
good old Newport, Pennsylvania, in Perry County.
So I'd love to know a little bit about Perry County and maybe what some of the music was like there and how it influenced your music, because your country's a little different from the country me and Steve here, a little bit. So.
It's like I was only exposed to like the Perry County and Pennsylvania like musicians and stuff like within the past like 5 years, because that's when I started like playing out at different places and hanging out at open mic nights with guys. And like my dad always had the connections and stuff to book me gigs and get me out to open mic nights and stuff, so that always helped me out so that I could kind of network through him. And like I've met the best people that I've ever really had the honor of talking to through music. It's crazy to kind of think about sometimes. Like I've been through hell left and right, and the people like I thought would have my back, I haven't met through music, but I've met a lot of people through music that seem to actually care and like want to work with me instead of like kind of throwing me away, if you know what I mean.
Well, and it sounded like to me when I first started, talking to you and getting to know you, and during the move down, for example, you had that one gentleman that talked to you, and it was heartwarming. It was great to know you had a very, very solid support system. It was, sounds like a great place. If someone's unfamiliar with Perry County, because Perry County is a big thing for you, it's a big formative area for your music and your life. From someone like me from down in Louisiana, I don't know much about it. Can you briefly describe Perry County?
It's like here, but with hills.
Yeah, mountains.
and 15 degrees cooler.
It's a lot cooler where I'm from.
The morning I got up to get on the plane from the motel, it was 56 degrees. I get down here 4 or 5 hours later.
Like 87.
from going in and out of the airport and getting on planes and whatnot. Like, I get down here and it's 85, 90 degrees. I'm like, shit, what did I get myself into?
So
Yeah.
So let's talk about that small leap of faith from when you and I met to kind of jumping into the coming down to New Orleans thing.
So, I mean, you started talking in what, December, I think it was?
Yeah, it was December. I was sitting on the sofa scrolling through TikTok like everybody else. And I scrolled into one of your videos, and it was actually Don't Shut the Door. You know, what was different about Adam's video compared to everyone else's was Adam had this thing to his voice. It was welcoming. It drew you in.
Cause like I don't hear it myself, but it's like I'd love to have another person's perspective on me, to be honest.
So when you're for me, when I'm scrolling through TikTok, it's all music. It's all this. It's all that. And you get a lot of covers, you get a lot of originals, but at the same time, every now and then you'll find a little golden goose egg in there. And so scrolling through, finding Adam, I had to stop because it was like nothing I'd ever heard. Like your feeling that you convey when you sing Don't Shut the Door, it was like immediate, like I got to know this guy. So I've never had that experience. I've never wanted to reach out to somebody. I have enough musician friends here that it's not, I don't have to do that. I can play with anybody I want to in New Orleans. And I always told myself if I found somebody that was worth putting time and effort into, I'd reach out to them and see if they would want to work with me. And so I did it. And I mean, instantly we became
it was
friends.
What you guys wanted to cover my songs. You guys were looking for a cover. Right?
Well, yeah. So that was later. We weren't even. I was just searching because I wanted to get into A&R. I really truly wanted to just manage somebody, and I thought I might have a good shot at managing you if you didn't have anybody already. But I was pretty certain you had somebody that was going to manage you, and once you were like, no, I mean, I've talked to a few people, but nobody's really, I'm not really sticking with anybody. I was like, okay.
There's always different people that message me on TikTok. I kind of like message them back and forth, but nothing ever like felt concrete until I really started talking to you guys and video chatting and working on Don't Shut the Door. I'm like, I could really see myself going pretty far with this. Like, they're really good dudes.
And so do you think the difference was making the friendship versus making the business friendship?
Yeah, I think that was the whole difference. Like, we were trying, like, we were starting out with, like, little business stuff, like, working on the BMI thing and
kind of getting you pointed in the right direction.
Yeah.
I learned early on you were very new to this.
So I was all business, like, I wasn't sure, like, how to take you guys, like, wasn't sure if you were completely different or, like, not as, you didn't have, like, a sense of humor like I did.
Oh, no, we definitely
definitely do.
Yeah, I found out you have a worse sense of humor than I do at sometimes.
Yeah, we were worried you didn't, so
yeah,
thankfully.
you're like, oh, man, this dude might not fit in.
Speaking of which, this might be a really great opportunity to kind of explain to, Adam's fan base who Steve and I are, especially since we're talking about how we met Adam. So Steve and I, first and foremost, are musicians. Steve and I have been playing music together ourselves years now. I've been playing music, like I said, since I was 11, so I'm 27, so 16 years. Steve probably just as long, if not longer. And over the years for me, I've learned audio engineering and producing. I've worked in studios and have a lot of experience with that. And Steve and I, just being musicians, and Steve picking up a lot of it from working with me and his own experience, after a couple of projects that didn't really go the way we wanted them to, we kind of sat down and said, you know what, wouldn't it be really cool if we worked like as producers for somebody else? Like, what if we started a recording business where we recorded people, but the trick is we do it for free, right? Like, we just find talent and just pour all of our resources into this talent. We own all of our own equipment. We have all of our own experience with producing. We don't have overhead. There's no risk. There's no money.
So we took money out the equation.
Right.
Which it's not totally out the equation, but
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
most of the part, you don't have to pay $10,000, $5,000 to
right.
go into a studio when
We have the studio.
Yeah,
we are
exactly.
the studio. And the advantage to that is that we can focus solely on the musician, and that was my biggest thing that Steve really agreed with as well, was a musician centered production style. Which, I mean, it's not uncommon, but it was important to me.
in South Louisiana, it becomes
Yeah.
a little more uncommon because
Yeah.
everybody knows this as a working musician's town,
Yes.
and so you're gonna pay your way,
Yeah.
and you're gonna sacrifice your way through the music industry in South Louisiana, regardless of what genre you're in.
Right.
It's gonna continue. You have to push, make money, and if you can make it out of the Bourbon Street circle,
Yeah.
you're
If
golden.
if you can stand up to all the guys and Frenchmen and stuff down here, like.
You're absolutely golden.
And on Adam's timeline, tying this into Adam's story, I would say Steve and I kind of came to this conclusion about starting a recording business and hunting down our first, artist. Was it February? Like, when even was this that we kind of had that conversation?
It was probably February after we had kind of reconciled some things and got
Yeah.
back on agreeing terms
Yeah.
of, working together.
Right.
Trial and error after 3 to 5 years is
Yeah, it is something that every once in a while, but and so when I got back with Steve, we were like, man, like, okay, so we have all the studio equipment, we have it all organized and thought out. Who are we gonna record? And Steve almost instantaneously said, I have an idea. I have a guy. And that's when he mentioned Adam to me. And I don't use TikTok, so I didn't know anything about this dude. I hadn't heard of him.
he ain't even an old head.
Yeah.
He's on Instagram, dude. You got to post on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm an Instagram head. But I remember he showed me "Don't Shut the Door," and I'm sure like the other 500,000 people that have seen that video, it was like, holy crap, like the vibe of that video, that initial video, was just magic. His voice is incredible, but his guitar playing is equally incredible. It's very articulate. It's very precise. It might seem like just strummy country music, but he's a very succinct guitar player. He's a great guitar player.
That was an addition that just came natural that we were excited about.
Right.
Because before you got here, we were like, man, what if his guitar playing's not up to par?
Yeah.
And it's not in a bad way towards you. It's just a lot of musicians that sing really well, sometimes their guitar playing lacks. Or a musician
it's secondary.
that...
It's
Yeah.
not- yeah.
And so when you came down and it was equal, we were like, phew,
Like, okay.
that's easy.
I don't know about equal, but like
Well,
I can
You
kinda
keep
hang,
up
I
with
can-
what you
I
do.
can hang with
Yeah.
you guys a little bit, but like there's
Yeah.
stuff that you do with
I
the
don't know,
soloing
man. Me and
the
Matt
harmonics
can't
and
do that flat picking stuff
like,
you got
yeah,
up north.
There's a couple things I can do that you guys can't, but at the same time, like you guys are gods compared to me and some of the things you do.
No, you
don't
got that
know
flat picking. We trying to be country, not rock, dude.
yeah, well.
And that's another thing. Like whenever I started talking to you guys, like you were talking about doing metal, and you guys have been metal artists for a while, and like I wasn't sure how that would translate, because like I know Steve wanted to do country and stuff for a while.
Yeah.
But you guys were always metal, and I just wasn't sure how that would translate
Well,
or
it's
how
funny.
that would work out. But like
Yeah.
with Don't Shut the Door, how our ideas were, like that whole country rock setting that we're coming up with, like it really fit in well, and I was really surprised and pleased at the same time. Like it just kind of fell into place. These guys freaking just winged it, showed me a demo. I'm like, dude, that's exactly what I had in my head when I wrote this dang thing.
And that's
Let's
a funny
fucking go with
story. That's a really funny story because, right, Steve and I have been rock musicians and hard rock metal musicians for a couple years, and just doing the rock spectrum from lighter to heavy rock. And Steve especially has a deep love for country. You kind of can't help yourself when you're down here in Louisiana. It's the South. It's the heartland.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. We can't help ourselves right now, right?
All
Jim?
right, too much.
Anyway, I can play guitar. I didn't say I could make jokes, but we always really just wanted to work with a country artist. Like I always kind of, really wanted to do that. So that's why when I saw Adam, I was like, yeah, okay. And it's a little fuzzy on the details on how we got from talking to him to making the demo. And maybe you can fill in the gaps in a moment. But after talking with Adam and listening to that song, basically I was driven to say, you know what, I really want to work with this guy. I really want to work with him. I really want to impress him. Let's do something a little different than normal. And I took his YouTube video, and there's a lot of really great AI audio programs coming out. And the one I use is called Moises, M-O-I-S-E-S. And it basically, you put a song into it. In this case, it was a YouTube URL, and it'll separate the instruments. It's not perfect, but in his case, I took the acoustic guitar and the vocals and split them apart, put them into a track, and then spent maybe an hour playing MIDI drums on a pad, trying to follow his rhythm, his funky little rhythm he was playing. And then Steve came over, and then we hopped on a call with him and basically built a demo around his song, where we just put our ideas down, what me and Steve heard, and kind of had a little input from him. And I was a little nervous. Because we really wanted to work with him. He's super talented. I didn't want to mess it up. And he ended up saying, like you said a moment ago, man, it's exactly what I had in my head. This is perfect. And,
And it actually
it's
happened
a good
again.
first impression for sure.
It happened
holy
again
shit,
today,
dude.
like with the new one we're working on. The idea, the structure of it just kind of fell into place again.
yeah.
And not to knock on wood, I don't have any near me, but there you go. That happens a lot with me and you. Between me and Matt, it happens where things just start to fall in place, and it just kind of writes itself as it evolves.
It's not often you find a group of guys that like you really fall into place with, and it just kind of meshes together so well.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think it's rare to find, kind of the whole package with musicians. It's the camaraderie, the actual talents, the ability to work, intellectually and logistically.
It's one or
with
the
song.
other a lot of times.
Right.
Like,
it's
not the
usually
whole
one or
package.
two, but never three.
Yeah, 'cause
four,
Adam walked into a gold mine in a sense, right? So if you really break it down, and this is not to gloat or anything or to, I'm super proud that we have all these people. So Adam kind of walked into 2 guitar players, a drummer, 2 bass players, a backup singer,
Yeah.
and multiple people that were able to listen to him and be confident with what he had.
Give me pointers on what I could be doing like differently, or like just improving in general. Like our buddy that did our backup vocals, Hyphy, like I was listening to him do the backup and stuff, and like I could just kind of mimic what he was doing. And Steve told me, he's like, "You want to do your own frickin' vocals?" I'm like, "No, I'll let that up to Hyphy, dude."
Yeah. So, I mean, how cool is that to, fly 15 hours, 16 hours away from where you live and walk into a team of people that are just ready, like gung-ho. Like, I think the first week you were here, we had knocked the entire thing out. And I mean,
Because Matt, you took off
it was-
work for a week from
Yeah,
the
it was
hospital and
done.
just busted rear end on the song, just editing and
Well, so I work
not
at a
sleeping
hospital,
much.
right? And you don't want to take too much time off from a hospital. They need you. So I basically took a whole week off. And the funny thing is, though, and I think there's a little bit of things before we get into a rough idea of the process of the single. But things with Adam, there's a theme of falling into place that I think is interesting for me. Call it divine intervention, call it just, quantum particles aligning in perfect phase to create whatever.
who even listens to
But-
Never mind.
All right,
Quantum
Einstein.
Sorry.
particles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Einstein.
I'm gonna say it in simple terms. Every day we're good for everybody.
You did good
But
on that.
Adam found himself in quite a difficult situation that we'll touch upon in a moment. And it was at the perfect time that me and Steve were looking for somebody. me and Steve had reconciled at a perfect time. We started all this at a perfect time. Our fantastic drummer friend Mason coming into the project at a perfect time. He was eager to work on something. Our good friend John, who's a bass player, was willing to work on something. Hyphy, that me and Steve were in a band with in the past. He was willing. It was just everything just lined up to make this song happen. And so I had taken off a week to see a band with Steve, Alter Bridge, where they played at the Fillmore in New Orleans. And I'd taken off that week pretty much for that show. And it turns out he was coming in town, so I just took off the whole rest of the week. And it just, everything was perfect. And as troubling as maybe the situation was for Adam prior to coming to Louisiana, I think it's just very interesting to me.
How it all laid out.
Yeah, without us doing it on
Because
purpose.
we were supposed to get me to come down here for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and then send me back up there and stuff to figure my own crap out. But then just
Everything kind of fell apart.
just shit fell through, and
Well, maybe
I'm
we can
I
briefly...
called everybody that I possibly could to try to find a place for a little while, and nobody could really help out. So I'm like, shoot, Steve was already offering for me to get down here for 3
I
weeks
was
to
begging.
record the song. He was pretty
I
much
begging,
begging,
yeah.
Well, so I think
down
for
on
some
his knees,
context...
freaking begging me, and I'm like, shoot, I might as well just message or call him and just see if there's anything he could do. And
Right.
he's like, all right, let me get some money together. Tonight we're gonna get you to a motel. Tomorrow we're gonna get you on a plane. You're flying your ass down here.
Well, so for some context, so Adam was staying with some people.
Not so good people.
Yeah, not so great people.
Just surrounding myself with the wrong kind of people that you really shouldn't.
Just out of necessity.
Yeah.
And, we originally were trying to figure out a means for Adam to record a single with us. Steve and I have a whole studio that we built at our disposal, so we're trying to avoid using other studios because, again, we're trying to keep costs down so we don't have to make an artist owe any money. The whole point is the artist to be completely free to make music and not to have money in the equation, right? So he was in Perry County, Pennsylvania, and we were in, Paulina, Louisiana. So it's just how do we make this work? And we were talking about... We record all the instruments ourselves down here, and then we get them to do 2 hours in a hip-hop studio in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.
And just send the vocals down and work that way.
And then, send the vocals
crap back
down,
and
or
forth.
then we fly him down for 3 weeks, and he goes back up, and it's just... But what kind of culminated was a difficult situation that maybe you could touch
Kind of a
upon,
blessing in disguise, I think.
where you were staying with some people, and just basically...
It had just came to...
It all came to a head.
Yeah. Where it was just time to move on from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasted 20 years on a friendship that I thought meant something, and apparently it really didn't. So.
And you were basically on the verge of homelessness.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. I was getting ready to kind of
Bridget. You were about to be under a
unalive
bridge,
myself,
homie.
to be honest. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't gonna let you do that. I'd
yeah,
have
but
flew to
I was to that point where they really I didn't see another choice or another way out.
Yeah.
I was ready to kind of move on
I can say from my
to
perspective,
another world.
because Steve had been right. Steve had been talking with Adam for months at this point, and I'd only known Adam for a few weeks, and I had heard about Adam having trouble with living situations and having these people kick him out. And normally, I'm the kind of person to where it's I only try to live within the means I can hold for myself, and I try not to get into other people's lives because I want to make sure I can do what I have to do.
I can't help
But
myself.
something drew me to Adam to really work to help this guy out, and Steve and I, with Steve's financial backing, Steve flew Adam down here, right? But so that way he wouldn't have to be on the streets.
Be on the streets or even have thoughts of... I mean, suicide is such a big thing that you don't want to know anybody that does it.
No, you don't want to put someone in a situation
Yeah.
to where they have to feel like that's an answer. And Adam being such a, in my opinion, a beautiful human being,
A brilliant writer, a brilliant musician, and a great,
very intelligent,
great person.
A little
just
awkward, but cool guy.
definitely awkward. You're definitely awkward, dude.
Right.
But I mean, you stand like a
I rock
shadow,
with
but you're good. We get used to it, you know.
But so you know, with Steve's financial backing, we brought him down here to work with him, and man, I hate to say I'm happy that happened because it was really a messed up situation for.
I mean,
like,
shoot,
human
I'm
beings
happy
to
it
be in.
happened. Like, I wasn't happy at the time, but like, I mean, I'm having fun down here. I'm loving it. Food's
It's-
great. People's great.
Do
What more
people
could you ask for?
have people even seen you laugh at all? Like, do your fans even think you laugh? Because I bet they don't think you have any kind of comedy.
I really don't know because I don't think they have. Like,
Yeah,
they haven't really
they
seen the
have
real
not.
me. It's just
Adam is.
I film myself singing, cut off the camera, upload it, and I'm done.
Yeah, because you
Like, I
were.
don't really do much about my life. Like, I do like a little like updates and stuff, but it's mostly just depressing stuff that goes on. And
Dude, you're like a 10-year-old
like-
kid hopped up on candy constantly, dude.
Dude, you're like a 13-year-old like kid just right after Halloween.
Yeah, like just.
Which just,
I mean, going for it. Yeah.
With a pillowcase of Skittles.
Yeah.
Mom, I got a whole candy bar.
The dude's like joking every.
not just an apple from the neighbor next door.
I bet I could like.
This chocolate was really sharp.
I bet I could like scream at you and you'd still laugh at me.
Yeah, Adam is a great guy to have around you because no matter what you say, he laughs at it.
Yeah.
I didn't even look at him and I knew he was gonna laugh.
Dude, look, the dog's sleeping on the sofa.
You see, right? So, it was a no-brainer when Adam was in a situation that we really wanted to help.
Dude, look at this pig.
Am I right? And you know what's
it's
funny?
better to keep a funny mindset. Like, laugh at yourself, because like
Levity's
you
important.
can't be hurt if you're already laughing at yourself. Like, people
I
are
don't
gonna
know,
people are
man.
gonna say whatever they want
I
about
don't
you.
know,
It's
man. I've
just
been laughing and
laugh
crying
at
at the
yourself.
same
Laugh at
time.
everybody. Like,
Have you stabbed yourself in the leg while laughing? It's still gonna hurt. I mean, well, yeah, and you know what's interesting to me
That's
is
cruel.
Oh man, yes, it's incredible, isn't it? Wow. Yes. But no, like so,
Poor
I think
Catherine is
Adam
not
coming
amused.
down and Adam coming down and being a part of this process physically instead of remotely, it was very enriching and rewarding for the whole team. I mean, I know Hyphy mentioned he's happy Adam was down here. You know,
she were just hanging on the porch, just messing around, and he was playing bass on "Don't Shut the Door," just acoustically messing around on the porch, and like it meshed really well together. And I mean, it surprised me even more. Like, I was having so much fun, and like that was the first time I met the guy too. So it's like we just kind of melded together really well. Just the whole group. I really fit in here, and I feel kind of at home.
And since the other group of guys aren't here, to say specifically in this particular conversation, I mean, all of us, Mason the drummer, John who helped with bass, Hyphy who helped with background vocals, obviously Steve and I, everybody just had nothing but a great experience with Adam, and we're all really humbled to work with someone as good as him. It's funny, not to directly compare you to Kurt Cobain, but a lot of people would comment on how gloomy Kurt Cobain is and how he's this kind of chunky chords guitar player, but there are a lot of parallels in me between Kurt Cobain and Adam over here, to where when you really get to know Adam, he's such a more lively and bright and entertaining and
Oh
deep
yeah,
human
definitely.
being.
Dude's always
He's-
laughing.
He literally always is.
He's not like these. We're having a battle right now with playing sad country songs on the set list, and I'm like, dude, you're a funny guy. We got to put like awesome stuff in there. You're
Yeah.
like, we got to like
Funny
lighten
guy.
it up.
Same thing with writing too. Like,
Wait,
I can
how
write
would-
a
how
breakup
would,
song. Like,
And he
I
hasn't
can write
broken up
I can
with
write
somebody,
depressing
or-
shit.
Yeah.
It's because it's all I've known. It's like I'm not used to
It's
being
all you know,
happy,
but
so I
how-
really don't. I don't know how to write a happy song.
How'd I
like,
say that the other day? You ever been with a girl? Oh, never mind.
Man, you gonna bring that up again, dude?
I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
Oh man.
I'm as
Too
straight
far.
as an arrow, boy.
Well.
A broken arrow. All right, I'm done. All right.
So in summary, The whole experience working on Don't Shut the Door was incredible. We can't wait to show y'all some of the studio footage that we have regarding Don't Shut the Door. We're looking to try to have a documentary out on just the process, us talking about it, and showing you guys the behind the scenes of how we went about it. It was a difficult process, but in the end, I think you guys will really love the song. I hope y'all do.
Moose.
And it was just incredible. Moose is
Itchy.
He's like scratching.
That dude's getting the good spots.
This dogs are really at work.
Moose.
Special dog.
Moose needs a pressure wash.
You put the special in special ed, boy.
So, well, man, I gotta say it's an honor to have you down here.
It is.
And we appreciate hearing all about you, and we're really excited for your audience to hear some.
Man, it's only a matter of time to decide to ship me back to Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah,
man,
you're going
dude.
back next week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say this is a mistake.
Yeah,
The
but-
worst mistake of our careers. We should have knew better. So
You're
there's
You're not pressure washing tractors next week. You're going on a plane back to Pencil.
you pressure washing the inside of a train.
Go
plane.
Pennsylvania.
Train.
Wow, we were making him walk there.
Oh, dude, what if you had to hitchhike down here? How would that have been?
He would have just got here yesterday.
Get in a car with a
Probably.
butter knife.
What?
Sore subject.
Get in the car with a freaking butter knife.
Oh man,
Sore subject.
Sore subject.
Too soon.
Boy, oh boy. Steve and I are looking forward to helping Adam out with his music. We really want to keep what makes Adam special, and we're really endeavoring quite a lot to make sure that we don't pollute his musical process. Adam is he's really open to working with us. And he has so many ideas that I feel like we can act as a conduit for him to get out there. And I'm really excited to help him achieve things that he couldn't achieve on his own.
There's a few things that I'm like really picky with, like my lyrics and kind of the different riffs and stuff that I have. Like, I'm more than willing to rewrite stuff if it works out with the band a little better, depending on the situation. But like at the same time, like if I really like a song that I come out with or come up with, like I kind of want to keep it how it is.
Yeah, you
but like
pretty-
I'm more than willing to.
You stay
to take
pretty
in other
stern
people's
to what you
opinions
want. But you only came
Like
down here.
I don't come across as like an a-hole about it. Like I'll listen to your opinion, I'll take it in, and kind of like think of how to work around it or work with it.
But how cool is it that, I mean, it's been a month and a half?
A little over a month. I don't even think a month and a half just yet. Like maybe a month and a week, something like that.
But you came down here with 2 songs, one half completed.
And now I got like 4.5, I think it is.
4.5.
You got,
5,
you
yeah,
got almost
3/4.
5. Yeah, you're working on your 5th one right now, so.
Man, inspiration's everywhere down here. It's just, I mean, Louisiana is just a melting pot of different artists
And this 5th
music
one is a
genres,
banger.
and
Yeah. Me and him wrote kind of like a heavy country song. Kind of Jason
Oh, wait,
Aldean-y.
hold on now. You talking about that one?
Man. Wait till you hear what Steve and Mason and everybody puts on this damn thing.
dude, it's gonna be sick.
And it makes me hungry for some Buffalo
We just
Wild
gotta,
Wings.
yeah, we just gotta change the
Yeah,
lyrics.
change the lyrics. We just have like a
We'll
scratch
just save,
demo lyrics. on it.
we'll save that one in case we get a sponsor from Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh man, I
but,
hope so.
Hashtag.
But we have a lot of great stuff in the
Buffalo
works. We're
Wild.
really excited
Hashtag
for
sponsor
everybody.
me.
Yeah.
It's all about money with these
Hashtag
people.
give me money.
Hashtag free food.
Air. This is brought to you by Air. Live to breathe. Breathe to live.
Dare to breathe.
Dare to breathe. So
We're done.
yeah. So thank you guys for watching. We hope you are able to learn a lot about Adam. We have a lot of great stuff in the works, and we're really excited to show
We're
you.
probably gonna do another interview down the road and stuff, like kind of
Oh,
an
and
update
we have
sort
the
of
other,
thing. And
the humongous thing in the works with a big artist.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want you to
Completely didn't
keep
cross
an
my
eye
mind.
on Adam's social media, because as soon as we get more information on that, if you guys haven't already heard, it'll be there. And keep an eye out on Oak Avenue Recording. We're going to be posting all of this Adam related studio stuff there. So keep an eye on that.
And,
And,
so we
do like YouTube, Instagram.
Yeah, we're gonna have
Kinda
YouTube,
thing.
Instagram, all that good stuff.
between duets, working with a couple big artists, and just his own music, he's got a lot to do. So
Yeah, we're excited to
A
work
lot to
with
do, a
that.
lot to take in, but I mean, I'm more than willing to put in the
Yeah,
work.
but
Like, It doesn't
But
even
look at
feel
all
like
the
work
people
anymore.
that are just like reaching out, willing to help. How cool is that,
it's-
dude?
Like normally you have to reach out and like.
No, you ain't
almost
had to reach
beg.
out once, dude. They just like
but,
do
Yeah,
it.
they all come to
everybody's
him.
just like, go for it.
It's such an, and I know Steve will say this too. It's such an incredible experience to work with such an incredible musician, and I love how chill and normal Adam is. He's not an egotistical maniac like some people we have come to know. Hey guys, so the camera died.
Oh, you gotta talk, Matt. You gotta talk into the mic. Okay, we're just gonna go off the phone.
We're just going off the phone.
Screw it.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching the interview. There's a lot of great stuff in the works. Adam, would you like to plug your social medias and such?
Adam Clouser Music on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I have a Cash App.
And you have a tip jar.
It's linked to
thing?
my Instagram. Yeah, that's my Cash App.
That's your Cash App, your tip jar.
Yeah, go to my TikTok. My link tree should be on there. I believe it's linked to my Facebook as well. So all my socials are on my link tree. Just go straight to my TikTok and you'll find it right on my bio.
Yeah, and so I can say wholesomely that anything that is sent for Adam is definitely going towards his music stuff.
Yes, anything Cash App related is going straight to his bank account. Please support Adam.
Yeah, it's not for us.
Trust me.
But he's waxing tractors, so that's a start for him.
There you go. There you go.
So
Soon he'll-
I wanted to rep the merch, but he wouldn't let me.
yeah,
well.
screw it. Thank y'all for watching.
Thank you guys for watching.
Man, the boss man would have been happy.
That's a cool outro. That's a cool outro. All right.